I was on the road touring for 7 years. Growing up, getting wiser, more experiences, and meeting different people, learning more about myself, and just really establishing who I am as a person outside of myself as an artist. I wish I didn't wait so long to put some new music out, but you know, life was happening, and I think that's necessary for you to be able to be inspired to write some new stuff, is to live life. I don't have a favorite song from the re-releases from that batch because they're all my favorites, and that's why I wanted to add it to the album, the re-release. Those were songs that I had written and recorded back when I was writing and recording the other songs. But for whatever reason, they didn't make the album. I think some of those songs were songs that I was not really sure about. Maybe they didn't fit the aesthetic of the album. I'm sure other artists can relate to the fact that we cut a lot of records from the finals. And as I've been listening to those records over the years, they fit perfectly. They should have been on the original. Well, the re-release is different because, of course, it has new songs on there. It's also been remixed and remastered by an incredible sound engineer by the name of Jerry's. Also, it has a new cover.
As far as the cover, when I first saw it, the first thing that stood out to me, honestly, was the fashion. Again, so if he's already coming different musically, he's going to always come different visually as well. And I felt like the fashion choice was very specific to him, wanted to be different. He wasn't going to look like everybody else and do what everybody else was doing. And that's what I really also appreciate about JaVonté. And I think it's more about his journey through music. It made me think of like a cowboy thing. Like, he's from California, he's out in California doing this music thing, and it kind of makes you feel like he's like an artist in the Wild West, you know what I'm saying? Like a cowboy just trying to make it, you know, through this journey of music, of the music industry or the indie music realm, whatever. And that's what it made me think of. It made me think of the Wild West and just someone journeying through that.
I hated the original cover. I hated it. Initially, it was an idea that I had to be in the wilderness. At the time, the poncho thing was very trendy. So, you know, I wanted to incorporate like a wilderness cowboy vibe. When I released the album, I got a lot of flack for it. People thought I was doing country, which I understand now. And they were just kind of thrown off by the concept of the cover. So with this new cover, I wanted to bring in a different concept that kind of related more to the theme of the album, which is Where Have You Been? Which is basically about a person finally coming into themselves, finally finding their sound. For me, it was finding my sound, finding my voice. So as you can see, I'm looking at myself in the reflection, and the reflection is enjoying the moment, enjoying his flowers, enjoying, you know, the love that he has been shown, which I appreciate from you all. And yeah, I wanted to bring that concept to life in a more direct way. And hopefully it translates better than the first album cover. I think the meaning of the album has stayed the same in the idea that it's about someone finally coming into themselves, but also I've evolved as a person, so I think the album theme resonates with me even more than it did back then for different reasons. Back then it was more about finding my sound musically and finally becoming an artist, because back then I was trying to like get placements for other artists and try to write for people, and I wasn't really focused on my artistry. Now the theme is more about me coming into myself as a man, as a human being, being comfortable in my skin, being more confident, being more focused on what I know and what I love, and just standing on what I believe now. So it has stayed the same, but it has evolved because I've evolved.
When I listen to Where Have You Been by JaVonté, I feel euphoric. That was perfect. I did not even plan for that. But JaVonté has always had a really magical way of painting a picture with his voice and coloring the imagery, with his approach and how he feels in the track and his melodies. And that is what has always grabbed me. And Where Have You Been specifically to be like the opening track of the album, it's just like, I can't, sometimes you don't even have the words, but it's just that thing that just like pulls your heartstrings, and is you can tell that it's music that's made from the soul and for the soul. And I think, anybody that is listening to music for a feeling will feel it every time. You know what I'm saying? It's relatable. It's something that everybody is desiring. Like, we've all experienced it. Like that sweet spot in between, like feeling lost, but now you're found. Like I was just, aimlessly walking through life, not necessarily looking for a thing. And then it hit me unexpectedly. And now, it's like, I wasn't looking for this, but now that you're here, like I think this is what I've been missing. A friend of mine had introduced me to JaVonté's music. He played this song and I'm like, who is this? I need more. I need the entire album right now. Like, give it to me. And so then he like played it start to finish, and I was like, I'm about to download this entire album to my iTunes like right now. Like, where's the rest of his music? I need it. Like, I was literally obsessed. I was like, this is one of my fave artists now. Like, the vibe of his music, the vibe of his voice, like is just so beautiful. And it's truly like something that was like a segue into like my new journey of music, and just the vibe and the feel that I wanted to, reach and move on to. So truly kudos, because baby, that's the one.
That's how I want people to feel. I want people to still feel those emotions when they listen to the album, including the new songs. Like, there's a song called Used to Be, and it's pretty much about holding on to things that don't serve us anymore, and needing to let go. So. I'm just excited to give y'all some new sounds, some new stuff to tag me in on Instagram. Yeah. Working on some new music. I'm really excited about it because it's a sound that I have been kind of dreaming about doing for a long time. It's not something that you would normally hear me on, but I think you would appreciate it. Hopefully you will. I'm sure you will, because it's fire. I feel like this album was a great era for me. You've all shown me a lot of love on it, and I really appreciate it. And I wanted to give you some flowers for giving me some flowers. That's part of the theme of the cover. And yeah, I wanted to show you some love by adding some new music to it, kind of making a stamp of it as I move into another era of music, and really say thank you to you for just showing this album so much love. You were sitting at a keyboard and you were adding some synth to the truth. I enjoyed it. Another person who did some covers was Alec Walls, my boy Alec, and he actually did two. He did one for Where Have You Been and The Truth. And of course, he can sing his face off.
Leave your lips, you're a trip. You're nothing I wanted. You're mine, you're poor, my dear. What you say?
And he rewrote it, so that was amazing, because that's something that I really respect with artists, is the ability to write and flip songs. Because I love to do that with other people's songs. I like to rewrite stuff and add to it, kind of put my own twist on it, and that's what he did, and it was super fire. I think the song that was most difficult for me to readdress during this re-release process would probably be Start Over. And I think that's because, I mean, even though the song is talking about a relationship and not wanting to have to like relearn somebody new, I think for me, starting over was a big thing during the pandemic. And just relearning things, really having time to sit and think about what's important and what's not. Evaluating relationships with different people, whether it's romantic or platonic or family. Starting over is hard, especially with relationships. Rekindling is hard, even when you're getting back with someone who you were dating, or becoming friends with someone who you weren't friends with for a while. It's hard because you gotta relearn. You gotta relearn them, you gotta learn what they like, what they don't like. You're a new person, they're a new person. Are y'all compatible anymore? Is the new people that you become compatible with each other? Like, all that shit is sometimes difficult to navigate through. So I think that was really a thing for me to have to process when listening to that song again, because it became more than just a relationship song. Free to Roam. I think that song is kind of my mood. Just like, if that's how you feel, please, by all means, do you. You know what I mean? We are not obligated to each other. We don't have to be tied to each other. We are here to live our lives. We are here to learn our lessons and get what we need to get. I have a song on the original album called Hello, featuring Sir. Amazing artist, amazing guy. And at the time, the song didn't have a feature. I was looking for a rapper to get on it. I couldn't find one. We were in the session mixing the album. The cars are just... I was like, I'm still looking for somebody to rap on the song. He was like, well, I'll do it. And I didn't even think to ask him, because I forgot that he raps. I knew that he sings because I listened to his music. And yeah, he knocked the verse out that day, and it was dope. It's like my favorite part of the whole song. And he just made it easy for me to complete the missing puzzle piece. It was a little frustrating that I couldn't recover those session files for How Low to put it on the new album, but you can still listen to it. It'll be available on SoundCloud. It'll still be on Apple Music and Spotify.
This album is definitely a classic. It has all the elements of what would make up a great body of work. Great storytelling, great production, great songwriting. And, JaVonté's got this really masterful approach to, his arrangements that is so unique to him. So when you put all those elements together, it gives you this really, really amazing body of work. And I'm super excited that we're celebrating the re-release with this remaster and some new songs. So congrats, JaVonté.
I started writing and recording this album in 2012. something like that. 2012, my best friend passed away. I quit music altogether. And Tay Beast, my brother, he reached out and wanted to do a beat tape with me singing background vocals on instrumentals. And it was something that I had never done before. I had never heard the idea before. And he was just like, you know, do whatever you want. I just want backgrounds on the records. So I did a couple records. And mind you, I'm depressed about my friend. I'm quitting music. I'm never doing music again because she's the person who taught me how to write. She taught me how to write conceptually, and I was just over it. So I did the records for Tay, and then I wrote Supernova. And from Supernova, I just started writing again. And in the midst of that, I started working with my other brother, Iman Amari, and we created The Truth. And then we also created Where Have You Been? I think maybe Where Have You Been might have come first though. I can't remember the timeline, but yeah, we created those records. And at the time I wasn't even really working on an album. I was just writing music as therapy. And then eventually all the other songs came. I think at the time I was maybe unemployed. So I had a lot of time to write. I had a lot of time to think and conceptualize the album. And then we finally put it out in 2014. Just revisiting the music, like I don't really listen to my music once I put it out. I listen to it a lot before I put it out, like obsessively. And then when I put it,
My phone keeps doing. Go from I listen to
why I oughta,
and then the honking right after it said fuck
right.
Okay.
Yeah, I listen to my music a lot before I release it, and so yeah, when I put this album out, I didn't really go back to it as much as I was listening to it when I was kind of like amping up to release it. So just having to listen to the mixes and the masters and make sure everything was cool, I was like, oh, this is actually some cool music. And I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to release it originally. And it made me even more proud to re-release it again with the new music as well. Believe in the fact that you are dope. Don't let anybody let you second guess who you are or what you can do. The moment you do that, you're free to write about whatever you want to write about. You're free to express yourself, even outside of music. You're free to express yourself however you choose to express yourself. And there's no right or wrong way to approach music. Everybody approaches it differently. So you're not doing something wrong approaching it your way. It's your way. And so yeah, I feel like I've gained a lot of confidence since releasing this album the first time. Confidence in myself as a person and as an artist. And I feel like I'm more free to just write whatever and however I want to, without feeling like I gotta fit inside somebody's box of what music should sound like. It's whatever you want it to sound like. And those are the best records. The records where you can just be yourself, in my opinion. Well, I missed the Insecure boat, and I'm very, 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 very upset about that. But if I had the opportunity, definitely Healing Balloon, Start Over, Where Have You Been would go in plenty of scenes in the Insecure. Also, there's another new series called Harlem that I would love to be a part of. I actually finished the series the other day, and that show had my Shazam popping. Like I was Shazamming songs left and right. And I think I think this album would fit the storyline of Harlem too, because it's talking about relationships, getting over your ex, getting back with your ex, starting over, free to roam. Used to be, letting go. Running back, that could go on that series too. Talking about, I wondered what would happen if you came running back to me. Like, what would our life be if, you know, I came back, or if you came back, or if we never left? Like, what would our life be right now if we had to just stuck it out, if I had to just treated you right? So yeah, I think those are two series that I would love to be a part of. But shout out to y'all for those amazing series. They got me crying laughing. I would love for K Tronada to remix The Truth. I think that would be freaking crazy. Yeah. Please, K Tronada, I would love to work with you. I've been wanting to work with you forever. Since Janet Jackson, If. Since Gold and Jill Scott. I think Smino would be dope on Dreams. I think he could relate to having to give up some stuff, maybe sacrificing some stuff to live his dream, maybe moving away from his hometown. I don't know if he still lives in St. Louis, but if he doesn't, I'm sure he can relate to leaving St. Louis and going off and venturing off and getting into his dreams and really finding out what that looks like. So I think he would, and plus he's just an incredible artist. More than a rapper, I feel like he's a jazz singer. He's crazy.
Every now and again, you get a pairing of creatives that really change the game, that really drive innovation in music. It's not super common, but when it happens, it's magical. Think Rodney Jerkins and Brandy. Think A Tribe Called Quest and Jay Dilla. This is like the perfect examples of what they brought. It was like Brandy meets Jay Dilla. It was crazy, life-changing. Man, when I heard the sound, the marriage between the two creatives of JaVonté and Amon Amari, it was perfection.
Well, Out of Town is a true story. It's not one that I like to revisit a lot, but you know, I met someone. We lived in the same city for a moment, and then we didn't. So I wrote a song about it. I mean, the song is pretty self-explanatory, so if you haven't heard it, check it out. It's, I think, an incredible song produced by Tay Beast. Yeah, we had a date on Mulholland Drive one day, overlooking the stars. And yeah, it ended, and we became friends, but we don't talk anymore. So. Hold on, let me put on my smart guy glasses. No, for real. I just want to say thank y'all for your continued support. It really means a lot that you guys are still tagging me in your posts about Where Have You Been, which came out 7 years ago. Some of the music is probably like 9 or 10 years old. The Truth, I know, is like at least 8 or 9 years old. And you guys still show love. It's a testament of good, classic music. Shout out to all the producers that worked on this record: Iman Amari, Tay Beast, Jarius Mosey, Mark Eccles, Corn Austin. Let me see if I'm forgetting anybody else. Shout out to El Camille, Alex Isley. I'm sorry if I forgot anybody. Shout out to Amir for the backgrounds on Free to Roam. That record couldn't be dope without you. And shout out to Jarius for remixing and remastering it. Shout out to Sir for Hello. And peace out.
Cut.
So I do have merchandise. As you can see, I'm wearing a shirt. I do have 4 options for this shirt, and then I also have some hoodies because it is hoodie season. But yeah, you can. I'll link my bio. I'll what do I want to say? Damn, niggas is thirsty for the sales, cuz.
What's a valuable lesson learned about your creative process since the album originally came out?
Man, the most valuable lesson I've learned. They're just rude over here. The most valuable lesson I've learned within my, what was the question?
Most valuable lesson you've learned about your creative.
We got some new jams, and ain't some jams.
Ready?
What's your favorite memory from What's your favorite memory from completing the first? What? My favorite memory from completing the album. Yeah, it just made me proud to. I don't know what I say. It doesn't matter. New music, duh.
Where is your microphone?
Oh. Did you have something to drink? Well,